All right. Well, we can we can begin with the recaps here. I suppose we could just start with Kazimir and find out, Kazimir, what's going on with you. Very good summary. So Kazimir has a couple oats shaking around in the old bowl up here. And thinking sounds like potato chips. Very good.
Popcorn.
Oh, popcorn, even better. Even better. Well, hopefully your brain is at least buttered. Or do you put some of that, like the buffalo seasoning on it?
White cheddar, actually.
Oh, good. White cheddar's very decent.
Oh, and also movie theater butter. I put both on. It's delicious. It's also very healthy.
Hey, I'm happy our local movie theater actually switched to real butter now. It's not golden flavor that they dispense under the popcorn now when you go to the movies. Oh, goodness. All right, so, yes, Kazimir currently has a skull full of popcorn, and that is a very accurate description of just what happened last session. So let's move on to Celine. Celine, you're looking over Kazimir, at least that I knew. In fact, we're going to go to the road. We're going to go to where all this took place. I did erase the little side illustration in the pit, but you all were walking in the countryside, ran into some razor vines, and...
Yeah, we ran into some razorvine. And now, Kazimier's a zombie. Not in the undead sense, just... as in, he's lacking any kind of intellect whatsoever. I want to think that it's a curse, but it's probably not a curse. So it's probably going to require us to go back to town and get even more diamonds. Correction, diamond dust. So that I might take a crack at fixing whatever it is that's up with him currently. Because, unfortunately, healing ain't cheap.
Yeah.
Kazimir's liability to party.
We're all liabilities to ourselves, let's be real here. Okay. So, I mean, I'll take some notes on his condition while he's like this, but we need to get back to town so that we can fix whatever's going on with him.
Okay. Yep. So you'll.
God, this is the second time in 2 days.
You'll be noting what condition his condition is in. Very good then. Perhaps, unless there's anything else, Celine will hop over to Kazimir's rescuer, Mordecai.
Yes.
Okay. Mordecai, what is happening? What is going on in your world?
Yeah. The razor vines were a thing. They weren't terribly dangerous. It's just the thing that Kazimir is now unconscious. And Celine seems to think she knows what's going on with him. And yeah, if we're heading back to town, I mean, I could always teleport us, but that would be costly.
I mean, you're hours outside of town. Like, if you turn back now, you'd be arriving after the sun is already set, but you could return in the same conscious period. I mean, for you, obviously, Mordecai, but for the others, if they push themselves a little bit, you'd be able to get back to town.
Yeah. I have an idea that maybe I could just go back to town on Jasper, and everybody just make their way back, make their way forward,
Yeah, you could write ahead.
And I go back to town to go get some diamond dust and bring it back.
That works.
Especially because Mordecai doesn't really have to sleep. So.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true.
Just make sure to write him a prescription, Celine.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from you, Mordecai? Are you how you feeling? How you feeling about that scared straight intervention that you had with investigator Jacob Stillwaters?
I thought it went pretty well. The kid's gonna stay out of trouble. I'm almost positive. He certainly seemed like he was not going to pretend to be a ruffian anymore. So we'll see. I don't really know. I don't know the kid, and so yeah, just that should be fine.
Did something like this ever happen to Mordecai when he was younger? Did you ever have an intervention like this, or were you quite the rapscallion?
I was not the rapscallion when I was a kid. I was far more interested in tinkering things.
Nerd.
I mean, that, and kind of had my eye on someone, but yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Very well. We will continue. We'll continue down the line here. Actually, Bright. If we're talking about Jasper, Bright has been the pilot of Jasper now for the last little bit. And Bright, what is going on with you, or what are your thoughts or feelings on recent events?
So, turns out it's not that hard to fly a Jasper. I didn't know. I've never flown one before. I mean, it's kind of a bummer that Kazimir got addlepated, and I still don't know what kind of monster is there down in the razorvine. But just intellectually speaking, I'd prefer not to be devoured by it. But I mean, I don't want to lose the Fomorians. We know they're going somewhere important, and maybe they're going off to fight the Fae. I don't know. And if they are, it seems like we should be there. We might be able to help them, or we might be able to win her. Maybe that would be the best. I'm not sure, but yeah. Also, I'm gonna need to run off and pick up my stuff because it's buried in a hole, and I don't want to go too much farther without it. So we're gonna have to go back for those. So I was hoping Coffee would loan me Jasper to go and get it, but if he needs to go get diamonds to save Kazimir, I don't know. We'll work it out somehow.
Oh, suddenly the demand for Jasper is just skyrocketing here. If you know, Mordecai, you got to invent some kind of like a steed summoning service that just anyone who needs a ride somewhere can just, like look in a little like a tablet or something, and it has a little magical scroll that just summons a guided steed, and then it'll take them to the restaurant, or it'll even bring food to them, so they don't have to leave their farmhouse. And all right, let's end up with investigator Jacob Stillwaters of the Green Shield. I'd say Green Shield Police Department, which is accurate, but I don't know. Investigator still carries a weight to it. Still, investigator, what's going on with you? What are your thoughts or feelings or observances, hopes, dreams, goals? How you doing?
If you're saying anything, we can't hear you.
I'm here.
Okay.
There we go.
No, not much has been. Alright, slipping wrong character. Well, fortunately, there's been a bit of a cluster as we're currently watching Mr. Shrillapen, who is currently stumbling about in the razorvine field. Not sure why this would be the time that he would have taken a stroll, but unfortunately, this is where he is. And of course, we have to end up here considering the fact that, well, at this point, Bright seems to be flying some form of mythical creature. Where we're trying to get over the razorvines, now trying to get Kazimir out. And I'm sitting here on the other end of the field, trying to figure out how the heck do I end up making this go. Maybe Kazimir has a condition I'm unaware of. On occasion, he just needs to have a stroll. Maybe he just fell asleep. Sudden case of sleepwalking.
Yeah.
I have no idea on how long he's been traveling or what salt will do to a man.
Yeah, that's true. Could have had a high blood pressure incident. All right. Dark Wolf, you should always just have that salt shaker handy when we play on Tuesdays. Just keep it around.
It just happened to be
Excellent observance, though, investigator. That's whether you intended that to cause a chuckle or not. That's we can all have a bit of a bitter irony to that sentiment. Is there anything else, or are we going to pick up with the way things are?
I have nothing to add.
All right. Then, sure enough, we will. I'll zoom in a little bit on the field here, so we get a better look at the excellent detail of the razor vines, and apparently they have red thorns. I forgot to describe that, but you know what? That's how this works. All right. So yes. As you were making your way over a very large and sudden patch of unseasonable brambles, thus indicating perhaps this was done in a supernatural fashion, there was a body, two, I believe you discovered, as you were flying over, that were caught in the vines. A rescue mission was mounted. Well, actually, Jasper was to then conduct the rescue mission. And you were able to partially extract one of the bodies. Kazimir very deftly slid and bent, and Kazimir kind of put on your best impression of Catherine Zeta-Jones in that one movie with shoot, what's the name of it? Where she was all dodging the lasers and everything, you know? Had Sean Connery in it. Anyway. So, yeah, I mean, y'all get a good eyeful if you want. Kazimir is definitely ducking, dodging, weaving through the vines with nary a scratch. And upon finding the body that was partially pulled out of the vines, he's got a sudden headache. Something happened. You ended up blacking out. Mordecai, with some quick thinking, was able to rescue you with some super nightcrawler powers, just without that sulfur smell. And yeah, so Kazimir, you are in a kind of a waking / catatonic state, and Celine is there as well, and this is then leaving Jacob. Jacob is in fact on this side of the brambles when y'all are on the other side of the brambles over here. So the party's somewhat split, and we'll pick up here with well, whomever would like to conduct some kind of action.
Why is Jacob on the other side?
He hadn't gotten a ride yet, or he hasn't walked around.
Okay, I know it was really far to walk around. Otherwise, we would have just walked around.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's like 300 feet.
It was a good distance, and then
it was 300 feet across, not like 300 feet around, because that would just be like 2 minutes of walking. Yeah. So, the body's out with Jasper. That was the last thing that happened. And I was hoping that Jacob could, and maybe we can figure out who it was.
I'm sorry. You said what about Jacob? The voice dropped out for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I was hoping that Jacob could help me look at it, and maybe we could figure out who it was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, that might be difficult given the positioning.
Yeah. So, um, why don't we go get Jacob? Mordecai, do you want to go get Jacob? That would probably be the easiest.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay. So you swap out. Mordecai, you fly over this large patch of razorvine, and Jacob, a mythical beast mounted by an undead person, your deputy, lands beside you and is offering you a ride over the razorvine. Do you accept?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
So that's what we do.
Yep. And with a short burst of flight, you're able to clear the brambles, and all of you are together. Jacob, it looks like Kazimir is taking a bit of a nap. Doesn't look like there's any marks on him. I mean, maybe like a couple very light scratches. Something. Honestly, that could have been from a lot of different things. But seems relatively unharmed, but is just in this weird state. Kind of glassy-eyed, a little drooly. And there you are.
All right. So, do we know what's?
So let's take a look at the body. Look at
Okay.
it while I was pulling it out.
None of you need to roll medicine to see that the top of the head has been opened in a very bludgeoning, violent manner. This was not surgical. This was not expertise. This was hit until break open.
That's not good.
To be clear, it's me, Mordecai, and Bright that are on this side, and Celine is dealing with Kazimir right now.
Well, Kazimir
We
was
should all be on the
extracted.
same side.
Yeah, you all are on the same side. I mean, if you want to walk a little distance away, or this is kind of an amorphous. If you want to go around a corner, kind of a thing, you're welcome.
Well, it's at this point I would end up saying that Celine first needs to end up looking over. I'll look for evidence, but more specifically, I would like a primary assessment. While we know his skull has been opened up and the think tank removed, the truth of the matter is we don't have any idea on how this person may have actually died. For all we know, this may be post-mortem.
Well then, investigator, if you would like to conduct research, you may roll either a medicine, an investigation, or a survival could work as well. It's right before the list was done. That's right, and because you're under no real duress, you're not in the middle of combat, and you have some time and some other eyeballs. If you need to consult or just hearing passing comments, we'll take the 21 instead of the 13 with advantage. And so you're putting clues together on how the person was found in the vines, and you're looking at the state of the person. Now, while Jacob is doing this, do any of the rest of you do you want to examine anything else? Do you want to, or are you just there to watch Jacob, process the murder scene or whatnot?
I would want to help, but I'm also curious, like, how is he dressed?
Dressed in average Mask of Horns citizens clothing, though there is a prominent holy symbol to Ouijas, showing that he is whether or not he receives the lady's blessing is unknown. However, he would at least be an adherent or someone of great faith.
Okay, that's interesting, because we know that most of the Fomorians were followers of Ouijas, and maybe this.
There were people
maybe
following them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so maybe this was recent.
That would certainly point to that.
All right. So you all are still you're looking things over. Then Jacob, after a short while here of you know, unfortunately this isn't your first your first death processing scene, and you know, it may not be the last, but such is the life of a policeman here. And with your 21 and a little bit of time to think this over, some of the side conversation going on, it would seem that this person was involved in an altercation, and this now corpse has some blood that is dried, but seems kind of discolored, and you also find small tears of a violet flesh underneath the fingernails. There's also evidence that this person must have been wielding some kind of a weapon, because you do see that there are abrasions on the hand, though a weapon wasn't found. It could still be in the bramble patch. But this person carried something, or like gripped or carried something very, very powerfully. It could have been a weapon, probably not the holy symbol, as that would have left more of a pattern around the ring. Then really you're finding, with your investigation, 21's pretty good. There are also signs along the rib cage that this person was like squeezed or crushed, and that would be different than what you'd imagine some vines growing around someone. Like, there's definitely little puncture wounds from the razorvine where this person was bound up. But
is the flesh underneath the fingernails the same skin color as the Fomorians?
Yes.
And does this individual look like they came from the city?
Yes.
Or do they seem more rural?
City.
So he followed. Ended up coming after. An altercation. Unsure as to why. They seem to just be passive when they end up leaving the city, so... But he came at them with the weapon. Was disarmed. Fomorian grabbed hold of him. Crushed the rib cage. Disarming the individual. The individual tried to claw their own way out of the grip. To no avail. Would it be likely that what happened is that the reason the back of his head was open is because he's been he was literally ragdolled on top of some rocks or something like that? Or does it look more like
that? I would need a medicine to get more of the we're getting now into the forensics of this. Not just kind of looking at the evidence in that sense. With an 11, this was... I want to make sure I'm describing this in an accurate fashion here. And I have a cat. Hi. All right. Thank you for joining us. Cat butts, everyone, if you got them. Some kind of external trauma was used on the head. Though it's difficult to tell. Though at least it was a trauma that came from outside of the head. I guess not that you should expect it would come from inside the head, but something certainly happened that very specific. Like you've already investigated that the body, I mean, could have been crushed, in this great creature's, in the massive hand of a Fomorian, or that, the person could have had their arms or limbs torn off. But it very specifically, this person was dealt with by, but not even the entire head. I mean, you just like squish half the grape. So by removing the brain somehow, very specifically, but not in a clean cut. This certainly wasn't a guillotine or a beheading. This was just a pop. Pop the top, and that's very. I mean, for whatever the Fomorians are into, maybe that's their thing, but very specifically, this person received trauma to the top of their head that dashed it open, and there's no brain inside.
Mordecai,
Makes sense.
why don't we go get the other body? It might help.
Put pieces together?
I don't think we can put them back together.
I meant clues.
And yes, let's go get the other body. I mean, it's probably not too different from this one, and we can go together if you want. It'd be easier with two of us.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. And so I grab onto Jasper and help her up.
And
Okay.
while we're up there, I want to look and see if it looks like the Fomorians have like trampled a path through the brambles, or if they went around, or if they like jumped over, or what.
Okay. Give me a perception at advantage, Bright, since you're high up and you can see things more broadly.
Those always go well.
Hey,
Oh, it's a green.
it does. That's a
green
green number. Okay. It you see in the patch of razorvine. Now that you're high up again and you're specifically looking for it, while the patch is pretty consistent, there does appear to be some kind of a trail leading from about halfway into the bramble patch out. Now, mechanically, it wouldn't offer any sort of advantages for moving through, but you see a pattern maybe of vines that have been, that are sort of bent and they're facing out in a pattern going from the center, continuing generally in the direction that you've been traveling.
So it looks like something broke out of the vine rather than like something going through it.
Well, if not broke out, then they at least traveled from inside the patch out.
Okay, I don't know what to make of that. Let's fish out the other body.
Okay. I believe you used your magic hand or your mage hand to kind of get a rope boop, 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 around.
Yep, that's what we did.
All right. So we can repeat the process. You did it successfully once, and there's no duress, so I'm not going to have you roll again for this, as you tie it around. However, Jasper, Jasper's not an ambulance helicopter or anything by any means here. So, can Jasper give me an athletics to try and haul this person up through the brambles?
Yes.
Ooh, green again. All right. So Jasper
It's going to
apparently
be one of those.
wants to save some face here, and with mighty wing flaps, almost like a helicopter, I guess. Like you see the razorvine kind of like with the wing swooshes, kind of the waves are flowing through it. In fact, Bright, make a perception at disadvantage while this is going on.
7.
Okay. So you haul, and with a couple like snaps and tears, mostly of vines, but I mean they're kind of digging into the person as well. You Jasper, and the body is now hauled up out of the patch, and you want to go set it down next to the other one, I presume. All right, so Jasper sets down. All right, you have a second body that is here. Very obviously, the box text I can read for all of you is that its head has been bludgeoned open, just like the other one. It also bears a lot of scratches and stuff, but that's probably due to the razorvine. Investigator Jacob Stillwaters is on it, and with a 22 investigation. Not that the alternative was that bad either. He starts continuing his forensic analysis here as he's comparing. And Jacob, you are finding very similar circumstances to the other one here. You see that this one, though, instead of having signs of just sort of being crushed, there's a couple like hits, like large bludgeons instead of a singular crush. You're finding a couple like big bruises that were evident before the person's death. However, the death seems to be the same, where the head was dashed open, and there's no sign of a brain inside. You also see that this is another city dweller. This person has all of his money. Also has a holy symbol to Ouijas. And is not carrying a weapon, but you do see signs that this person must work in a trade, unlike the other one, because you do see a lot of like old calluses, nothing like what a trained soldier might have, but this person in some capacity probably worked with his hands, leading you to think that this must be like a business person, like a guild artisan of some kind, who is probably a lay person in the church, someone who is important, not sanctified, but you would still show up at services, help be an usher, pass the plate, that kind of a thing.
I have a feeling I know what's going on. The problem is I think I'm trying to think on how to arrive at that conclusion.
However you wish, or if you need help, you can let me know and we can noodle over it together.
I'd be willing to bet that what has actually transpired at this point is that they didn't have brains when they got here. I'd be willing to bet that it's less of the brain was taken here and more of the meat suit isn't useful anymore. It's too damaged. It can't keep going. Better to hide.
Possible.
You're certainly welcome to posit that. I don't think there's anything wrong with just having Jacob think that out loud.
No, there is a problem with it, because if that would imply something that Jacob has no belief in, and no evidence to back up.
You and your cold hand of science in a game of fantasy and magic. You got me.
Celine, how long do you think these bodies have been dead?
I could posit a guess, for the medicine check.
Yeah, go ahead and give him medicine. Again, you can do this at advantage. This is, death is kind of your thing, but also there's no duress. All right, 20. Nice solid numbers, everyone. I certainly hope not to see a bunch of reds later.
Don't you dare wish that on us. You take that back, sir.
Oh no, I'm not wishing it on us. I'm just embracing the inevitable.
Reds come when Matty rolls. It'll all but work out.
All right, well, there's that too. So, yeah.
Reds come on Derek's rolls.
Also true.
Especially if it involves advantage or a reroll.
Celine, we're talking maybe a couple hours. Certainly in the time frame that you would have been behind the Fomorians. You haven't seen them, but these are still fresh. There's no signs of Flies. I know it's still springtime. There's probably like a couple early bloomers that are buzzing around somewhere, but there's no signs of insect infestation. They
no
haven't
rotting or anything.
Yeah, they're not rotting at all. The wounds, the head cases are they're what they would be. The blood is dried in such a fashion that it would indicate a couple hours of it's kind of tacky still. You do see of course there's the Fomorian flesh under the fingers, and that there is a different colored blood. You're certain it's blood, though it's not humanoid blood that you're aware of. But that doesn't seem to be their own. For even these people had normal blood that you'd expect. So yeah, this happened maybe 2 hours ago.
It's like these are fresh. These are very fresh. Now I have a question for you. If I know it's not their blood, would casting detect good and evil maybe give me an idea of what kind of blood it is if it's not humanoid? Because I imagine it probably looks funky enough to not be humanoid.
I am open-minded to this idea. So what I will say is, if you're willing to use that spell slot and cast without a guaranteed result, I will call for some other kind of a check to try and modify your spell as you're casting it in this subtle way to see if you can get any residual clues.
Yeah, no, I'll do that.
Okay, so you expend the energy. And go ahead and I want you to make a... Let's just have this be a wisdom check. It'd be like in older terms, it'd be like a spell casting check because you cast off of wisdom here. Just make a straight up wisdom check, and your what's that?
So wisdom check?
Yeah, just a wisdom check.
All right. Oof.
Okay, so you're casting the spell here, and you're trying, you're hoping as you're calling on Weejass's powers and her insight to help you to modify the spell on the fly. The modification isn't successful. However, there are 3 Fae within 30 feet of you. And they're coming from the direction of the bramble patch.
Selena's just going to perk straight up, point at the bramble patch, and go, "We have company."
Like, do we need to get the fine
Fae
china?
company.
Oh, so the bad kind of company. Okay, I cast mirror image.
Okay.
Pink alert. Pink alert.
All right, so mirror image is up, and there are suddenly 4 brights. Jacob, Mordecai, Celine, knowing that there's a Fae presence hiding in the brambles, are you doing anything else as Bright is buffing?
I'll place myself between the supposed presence and the rest of the individuals I am currently accompanied with. I will end up preparing shield and hammer.
And
Okay.
I will cast heroism on Jacob.
Okay, so Jacob, you're taking a defensive stance. Mordecai, you're giving him a good game. And Celine?
I am going to thoroughly buff myself with Shield of Faith, and pull out and activate the Sunblade.
Let me go to what I need to reference in a book. What is the alphabet? I don't even English. There we go. Shield of Faith. Okay. So I will need this buffing goes up. There's kind of a tense moment. Nothing is stirring. And so what I will ask is, while there's not going to be a surprise round per se, I would like you all to roll initiative, please, as we find out what may happen in what order and to whom. As investigation's very handy for... Oh my goodness.
Oof!
That's a great.
Jacob's going
Jacob,
fast.
yeah, with a 25, very twitchy.
Does this include Kazimir?
No,
He's incapacitated.
yeah,
Technically, he
yeah.
can't even do anything against the
Kazimir, you're kind of luggage right now. You're the setting.
Do you want Jasper to go on my turn or roll initiative?
Let's keep it simple and go on yours.
Okay.
Dun dun dun. Da 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 dun dun. Da 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 da. Dun dun dun. Ugh. Da 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 dun dun. Boom boom. All right. So we have Jacob is up first. Then we have Mordecai / Jasper. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Bright. Mordecai / Jasper. Celine. And then I may have the chance to do something. We'll see. All right. So
Cleric
Jake.
initiative.
So what's that?
Celine has
Cleric initiative.
Oh, yeah. It's fine if they go last, right? Cure anyone that needs it. So Jacob, nothing has obviously stirred or pounced. There is a tense moment. Your muscles are ready. I'm already considering you in a defensive stance here. What would you like to do as you are up first?
I will hold my action until a threat is made known.
Okay. You're gonna bonk the first thing that threatens you?
Not necessarily, I need to know what it is, but I am being at the ready and ready to react whenever something ends up making itself apparent, especially if it's a threat.
Okay.
But at this point we're in a clearing. Not in the weeds, not in the ambles. Best to end up doing it out here, if at all possible.
Okay. Then, so just for the sake of programming my AI, you're not holding an attack. You're holding like a threat assessment or some kind of an interposition.
Basically.
Okay.
However you want to roll it.
Sure. What I'll do then is we'll say that you're holding on to an aid action. And so that could be, I don't know, velociraptors in the tall grass. One pops out and your aid action could be to effectively, I don't know, push Celine out of the way or whatever. And that would impose disadvantage on the attack since you're assessing and reacting, but you're not attacking. But I do have to have... it's not in programming language, I'm not a programmer, but I at least need to know what you'd be doing when a condition is met. And so we'll say that you'll offer the aid action or some sort of, something at least along those lines. All right, Bright. Jacob is, Jacob is absolutely like on point, scanning, that one little drop of sweat coming down. He seems ready. What are you doing?
We don't hear you.
I'm gonna make you regret that it's my turn. So, so the first question is,
Yeah.
can I use Dominate Person on Kazimir to make him operational?
Maybe. That sounds very interesting, actually. Let me double check here. I have my player's handbook.
I have the text of the spell here, if you want to see it.
Oh,
Does
sure.
it have an intelligence restriction?
I don't think so.
You attempt to beguile a humanoid that you can see within range. Must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed. If
No, it just has to be.
If your creatures that are friendly to you are fighting it, whatever. While the target's charmed, you have a telepathic link with it as long as the two of you are in the same plane of existence. And use the link to issue commands to the creature. You can specify a simple or general course of action, such as attack that creature, run over there. If the creature completes the order, doesn't receive directions, it defends or preserves itself. You can use your action to take total and precise control of the target. Until the end of your next turn, the creature takes only the actions you choose. Kazimir is a humanoid. You can see Kazimir. So I guess Kazimir could be a meat puppet.
Let's just see what the fickle god may cause.
Okay, so my second question then is, which of Casimir's abilities would I have access to?
Attacks.
Totally
Know how I
precise.
would rule it, but I want to see what you want to do. Should have asked you this in the week, but I wasn't expecting a fight so soon.
No, it's fine. Incidents like this that kind of make us all pause and say, you know what, that's an interesting idea here.
You're casting him on Kazimir, yeah?
Well, Kazimir doesn't cast off of intelligence, and so this is more of an instinctual thing, and you are making Kazimir your meat puppet. So I would say in this incident, if you wanted to have Kazimir cast magic as well as move and attack, then you'd be able to, because you're speaking to Kazimir's instincts as a hunter, and so he's operating off of muscle memory. Kazimir is absolutely not built for intelligence, which is to your advantage here, since he's lost all but one of it, or zero. I think he's at 0. So yeah.
No, we did 0.
I meant -1 technically.
So you do technically have to make a wisdom saving throw, so you still have wisdom.
But don't roll it yet, because I haven't actually cast it. I'm just finding out what Matty's going to let me do.
But yes, I'm very open-minded to dominate person operating Kazimir.
No? That's the question.
No. Kazimir is particularly stunned, not unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh.
Though Kazimir is, whether, I don't know if this is something that Bright would know. Kazimir is just in a kind of a catatonic state, but I imagine Bright could just say, well, if he's not thinking, I'll think for him, and kind of
That's kind of what I was hoping to do. Okay, so now that I know the rules, I'm going to do something totally different, which is cast Arcane Eye. Don't worry. See?
So should I roll initiative?
No, I told you I was going to make you regret this. I'll probably do it next turn. So I'm going to cast an Arcane Eye and use it to go in and search the bushes for those Fae and see what we're up against.
Sure. Okay, so you conjure an Arcane Eye, and as you do, the eye goes into the brush, and make a perception, another perception, Bright. This is not for the Arcane Eye, but this is for something different.
Oh, excuse me. Little hiccup.
17. All right. So just as the eye is disappearing into the brambles, you see that there is a little silver thing clinging to it, and it's waving to you as it disappears into the brush.
Oh, well then I want to call it back out, real quick. I need to hear what that has to say.
Okay. So that would be, let's see. Dark vision, that's dark vision 30 feet. You can move it. as an action. So, all right. So you can move it, but summoning it and then what moving it is. You can hear what it has to say on the next turn. But as it appears,
Okay.
it waves to you, and there we go.
Okay.
All right, now we're down to Mordecai. Mordecai, what are you doing here?
I am taking out my pan flute and playing a little tune on it, and spending a bardic inspiration and giving it to Jacob.
Okay. Jacob is super buffed right now.
As my bonus action. And I am holding a guiding bolt in case I see something come out.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Celine, what are you doing here?
I am going to ready an attack action.
Okay.
And as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon.
Okay.
Just at second level, and it'll be floating beside me for the time being.
All right. A glowing scythe appears next to you. And you're holding an attack for, in the event something were to pop out.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's see if something pops out. Hum-ba-dum-ba-dum-bum. All right. We have a roll to make here. Those of you 1, 2, 3, or 4. Whoops. Okay. Jacob. Something in a blur flies from the edge of the brambles towards you with fierce claws, just and goes to scrape at you here.
Is it the size of a house? Is this the size of a house cat? Or smaller?
Yes, this would appear in a blur to be approximately the size of a cat. It has claws extended, and it's jumping at you here. So it's made its move. It is within melee range, which is what you were holding for. So do you choose to swing at an animal that is jumping at you, or not?
I am going
or
to...
if not swing to aid. I'm sorry, real quick, because I got ahead of myself. Because it wasn't an attack, it was an aid. But you could aid yourself to effectively dodge, or, to get out of the way in this instance.
I will dodge.
Okay. All right, so it's going to jump out. And I should have made it's going to miss on that, but still, technically, it'll have disadvantage. Okay. All right. So this thing leaps out at you, and you are just like super. You're tense and on point. You go to the side, and this thing lands, and as it does, you see that it's cat in size, and it has paws and claws. However, investigator, you might have found one of the missing brains, as this is. It looks like a brain. It also looks like a kind of a wrinkly puffball mushroom. It's a weird kind of. Again, unfortunately, look, you work for the police. You've probably seen crime scenes where you've looked inside someone's head, and I'm not talking psychologically or in the questioning the questioning room, interrogation room. This
What
is
Lucifer's does to you people.
There you go. So Mordecai, you're getting a moral lesson in the middle of combat here. But this seems to be a mushroom creature that has brain-like qualities. As it's pounced out, and it misses you, and it emits just kind of a gross raspberry sound, and then it will. Jacob, oh yeah, you were waiting for something to jump out too.
Yep, I held my guiding
That's
bolt,
fine.
and I'm casting it at the 3rd level.
Okay. Pew pew.
Mm-hmm.
Your guiding bolt does indeed hit this thing as it pounces from the brush.
Nice.
Well, better to get a red
18
number on
radiant.
damage. Okay.
18 radiant damage.
All right. So with an explosion of color here, you strike this thing with your magic, and it gives like kind of clicky, gurgly sounds. Very gross. And then Celine, you also had an attack on hold, and so you can,
I did.
if you wish to use that on this thing, you may.
I'm going to, and it'll also be with advantage because of the guiding bolt.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it was with advantage.
Yeah, there's one of those red numbers we were talking about. So instead of a 9, it's a 25. 25 definitely hits. And so go ahead and strike.
Yes.
Nerds.
I'm also going to spend a challenge divinity to use Touch of Death. So I'll be dealing an extra 25 points of damage on top of whatever I roll, plus the D8 from. So that'll be 12 radiant plus 12 radiant plus 30 necrotic. So that'll be 42 damage all up.
All right. So everyone, we know what Celine does to mushrooms, and that reputation continues here. So Celine, you strike, and the Lady of Deaths, her radiance, her presence, her aura, her vindictiveness, her fury, whatever you're channeling it, and on top of Mordecai's already like this colorful explosion, just this chill feeling just goes through all of you, and this thing kind of like shrivels up, and almost like a cockroach, like its legs kind of like shrivel too, and this mushroom just kind of like falls on its back and rolls over, and it's now just this kind of like mushy yet also kind of dehydrated thing. And let's see. Mordecai. Whoop. That just rolled twice for some reason. Oh, whatever, same number. So I'm not a liar. Mordecai. Another cat? Question mark jumps out from the brambles, and jumps out from the brambles. It lands in front of you and gives a disturbing kind of like clicky, gargly sound as it's rubbing its mushroom bits together. And I need you to make an intelligence saving throw, please.
Even though it didn't hit me?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-oh. All right.
I'll save both my 5th level spell slots.
All right. You take. Oh,
1 second.
okay.
I would like to spend my inspiration to give Mordecai a chance to end up re-rolling that.
Because I gave it to you, I can't spend it.
What? No, I'm not talking about bardic inspiration. I mean actual inspiration.
Oh.
I ended up saying it early, and I realized I was muted.
Oh, okay.
Reroll it.
Get
It's
her
not
done. This is
re-rolling.
what inspiration's for.
Oh no.
You went from a 3 to a 2.
Oh no.
All right. Well, you definitely even less save against this thing's strange presence in your mind. You are going to take 16 psychic damage.
Ouch.
And
Well, but it didn't hit me though.
You weren't supposed to roll Derek's dice with that save.
What is your intelligence score, Mordecai?
Intelligence score?
Yes.
12.
You have a
Yeah.
You have a throbbing head, like you're disoriented. And this thing is all the gross noises. Like it's like fingernails on chalkboard or whatever the equivalent is for Mordecai. I mean, as a bard, you've probably heard a lot of things or whatnot, but some other kind of like really squidgy sound is just going through your body. And even though you're undead, it still gives you that chill up your spine. Okay. And then lastly, but not leastly, Bright. A cat, a quote-unquote cat, jumps out of the brush at you. And I presume well, I don't know. This is probably going to hit one of your clones, right? Or not a clone, but...
A mirror image? Yeah, I mean, it's going to have only a 1 in 4 chance of hitting me, even if it hits me. And it's a 19?
And it is going to be hitting a 20.
Yeah, 20 hits me for sure.
Okay.
But does it hit you? Is
Probably not. Let's find out. Okay, so the text for mirror image says, with 3 duplicates, I don't know why we don't use a D4 for this, but anyway, I have to roll a 6 or better on a D20. So let's see if it hits a duplicate.
Okay.
It does. It hits a duplicate.
All right.
That's all that happens. Because the duplicate gets hit and then immediately dissipates.
It's gone. Yes, I'm down.
There's no valid target for the other effect.
So it disappears as a cat savages a pink-haired gnome image, and then it starts getting like a kind of a vibration as it doesn't really have a face, but its frontal lobe is pointing in a direction, Did they make saving throws?
I mean, the image is just destroyed by the hit.
Yeah, well, you were right, but this is a secondary. This is a second attack that can be done at range.
If it's another attack, then he would have to roll again to see if he hits me or another duplicate.
Well, it's a saving throw, but I don't know if I can if your things count as creatures for saving throws.
Nope.
No, they're not creatures. They're illusions.
Okay. Then let's do this. I will roll a D3. Oh, there it is. 3. All right. Celine. The thing twists around to you, makes a weird, very like gargly, squidgy mushroom noise, and I need you to make an intelligence saving throw.
Okay. Safe.
Yay.
That's a safe.
Okay. All right. And so, oh, God, that's such a gross noise. And I mean, even for you, Celine, that says something. But your mind is just racked with weird energy. And the thing stops chittering. Okay. We now go back up to Jacob. Jacob, there is a quote-unquote cat next to... as this thing can project its headaches a little distance away. I'm going to say that the cat is still next to Bright, and you have one of these weird brain cats next to a coffee cat.
Almost smashed a one and ends up being near him, Mr. Silverleaf.
Okay. Yep, cause he's right there beside you, so we're over to you. Ooh. 2 hits, for sure. 15 and 25. Okay. So you bring your warhammer down, and you bat this puffball brain mushroom around, and it makes just, like... Like the sound your warhammer makes as it impacts this thing is like that of someone simultaneously biting into a fresh crisp apple and plunging their fist into a jar of mayonnaise.
Ew, mayo.
And with that very specific sound in your all's brains now, we're gonna, unless there's anything else, Jacob, we're gonna go to Bright.
By all means, go to Bright.
Okay.
Okay, so I close am I to the brain cat?
It is in melee range with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
in that case, he's gonna get. Oh no,
Uh-oh.
I'm going to fail.
All right, so you reach out to
You know what? Let's bring out the fickle god.
I failed.
Just cause we can.
all right, with that, yeah, so you go to try and strike back at it, and it just jumps back a little ways as your little fingers go to squidge into it and fill it full of good ideas and electricity. Anything else, Bright?
Well, actually that... I guess my arcane eye was never dispelled, but I didn't use it this turn. But, so I guess not. I guess that's all.
Okay. What I will say, as a fickle god is watching you fight and has bestowed 4 minor blessings on you all, the 4 of you outside of Kazimir, you have a +1 to something that you'd like. Just make sure you announce it. You know, I'm attacking with, you know, the fickle god's favor, or I'm attacking with a +1, or saving with a +1, or whatever you'd like in that case. But for this session, each of you are floating a +1 from the fickle god.
Thank you, fickle god.
We now go to Mordecai. Mordecai.
I also realized that Jasper didn't take a turn either.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jasper is going to come up next to me and attack the brain thingy.
Okay.
Once with his beak, once with his claws.
Let's see if Jasper can take care of this mushroom. That is a hit from the beak. Okay.
Once with his claws.
Ooh, and the claws too. All right. So Jasper brings a claw, like a griffin claw, down on the thing, and like bites between it and just pulls this thing in half, and it makes just this like wet ripping sound, and it twitches a little bit and stops moving.
All right, and then I am going to shoot at the one next to Bright with a guiding bolt. With a 23 to hit.
Yep, you got it. It dodged out of the way of Bright's electric fingers and right into your guiding bolt.
At a level 2 cast, that's 19 radiant damage.
All right, your radiant damage pours over this thing as sort of like sparks, like ribbony sparks fly off of it as it's impacted by your magic and emits a really foul noise. Anything else, Mordecai?
Bonus action, I'm going to inspire Bright.
Oh, thanks.
Just in case the saving throw.
I'm not worried about that. Just, is that a D8 inspiration?
It's a 10.
Ooh, that's even better.
And that's my turn.
Okay. Celine. What do?
You're muted.
Yep, you're muted. You're muted.
Thank you. How many of these things are around, and how many are close to me? Like, how close are they to me?
1, and it's probably about 15 feet away or so, as it's next to Bright.
Perfect. I am going to walk up to it. and I am going to cast me a spell.
Okay.
Just need to get this plugged in so I can. I will use the +1 as well. So it'd be a 12.
Well, you're hitting the one that was next to Bright, right?
Yeah.
That's at advantage then, because that was a guiding bolt, right?
Oh.
Yes, it is.
So
Yeah,
that's
well,
a
in that
critical
case,
hit
it's a
with a
crit.
28. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm just gonna cast this at level 3 and proceed to watch it die. That's 35, 42, 45, 55 points of necrotic damage. As
Alright.
as a set of claws made out of like kind of a mix of shadow and bone and blood just pick this thing up and tear it straight in half.
All right. It certainly does. Like the claws sink in and just turn this thing into the necrotic damage. Just almost makes it look like a sponge. Just like lesions and whatnot open up, and it's being punctured by the claws too. And the thing kind of wriggles and twitches, and then it goes limp. As it has been put down. As this happens, from kind of behind you all, you hear some very heavy thudding. Not quite like a gallop of a horse, but you're hearing the of solid stomps. And as you look around, you see that from the blood that has been spilled from the corpses that had their heads dashed open, there are red mushrooms that are starting to sprout from the ground where the corpses had touched, like where they were laid down, and these mushrooms had been growing, and they're plucking themselves up, and they're starting to manifest in form, and while not all of them have done so already, 2 of them have already uprooted themselves, being apparently being born out of the bloody ground here, and are going to dash forward. And they're dashing forward at Mordecai, and by Mordecai, Mordecai is odds. Should have just rolled a d5, but whatever. All right. So, Mordecai, one of these things is dashing over to you, and it actually leaps forward at you, and I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Alright, I'm actually fairly good at these. Except for that one.
Except for that one. All right. So this trudging mushroom, just dashes and leaps at you. Ugh! And I mean, you're manually breathing, so I can still knock the wind out of you. You are now prone, as this thing has just like kicked you down, despite it being larger than a house cat. But I mean, so too is Bright. So we'll say that these look kind of like Bright, except their hair or their kind of mushroom cap is crimson red, the color of blood. I mean, for a second, you're probably like, but then, of course, you get kicked down. You are also going to take...
Oh, boy.
24 bludgeoning damage. And so you, as this thing charges at you and just like dives headfirst at you, you're knocked down, and you probably hear like a couple of your own ribs break from the impact. But hey, you know, those are just cosmetic for you right now.
Yep. Cool.
All right, I'm gonna roll a d5, and I'm gonna see if I roll a 5. This is gonna be Jasper's getting attacked. And on the d5, it's a 4. So this is Celine. One of these mushrooms that has pried itself up is gonna do the same thing. It's gonna leap at you, and we're gonna see if you can dodge out of the way in time. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw. No.
Nope.
All right. Unfortunately, you do need your ribs. So you are going to be taking 25 bludgeoning damage, and you are
Cutting
knocked.
words.
Oh, what's that?
Cutting words. I'm reducing that damage
Ah. Okay.
by 3.
I totally meant 18 bludgeoning damage. Rewind. Yep. And now it lunges at you for 18 bludgeoning damage, knocking you prone. And you are probably bruised on your butt a little bit from that, as this just snarling, vicious mushroom is standing next to you with just a jagged grin. And it looks like there's at least 3 more that are still trying to pry themselves up out of the ground, but they haven't made it yet. We now come up to Jacob. Jacob, you hear 2 oofs. And there's these things that are, just when you put down these feral brain cat mushroom things, there's these little bright-sized.
I mean, they are.
They are. They're mushrooms, so they could be bite-sized, too. But you see that there's these bright-sized things that have just launched themselves into the party and are standing over Mordecai and Celine.
Well, then I am going to end up making sure that I end up staying in between. Well, I believe I'm closest to Mordecai since I've been right beside him.
Yep.
Oh, they're making you roll saves rather than attacks, so there's nothing I can do there. But I will purposely end up going and putting myself in between the party and the 2 bodies, and I will be attacking some of the mushrooms that are currently accosting Mordecai.
Okay, there is 1 mushroom that has launched itself, so you can lay into that one if you so desire. All right, both a 19 and a 16 will hit. Oh, all right. 25 damage as just 2 solid just lays into this thing. However, it you like knocked kind of mushroom parts off of it, and it just it snarls at you, making just these otherworldly noises through its mushroom mouth.
I should
I
be
will
making
have
a
it-
concentration check, actually.
Oh,
because I
yes.
can't heroism.
Yeah. 12, but that was versus a.
That was a while ago, yeah.
8. So Celine took the 18. You had. I rolled 24 against you. So that is what?
Oh.
It's,
That would-
12.
That would
yeah.
do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So you hurt, but you keep your mind focused, and you're still in there. Okay.
That's what Kazimir says because he's still kind
Their concentration.
Probably just they're gibbering, blah, 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 blah. This 7 JGB3X TU MP9KRY. Blah, 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 blah.
repeating attack.
All right. So unfortunately, Celine, I don't think you're going to be passing yours with a Constitution of 4. Okay.
My shield of faith goes down.
So then we resume back to the present, where Jacob, you're just knocking pieces of this mushroom away, and it turns and it's snarling at you. Anything else on your turn? Otherwise, we're going to go to Bright.
No, I am very much going to have to end up keeping myself in the way, though. I am trying to bait them to attack me instead of Mordecai or Celine.
All right. Well, you certainly have one's attention. Bright, what are you doing? There's
Okay.
a...
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of things to do. Okay, so I conjured up that arcane eye, but it was only 30 feet away from me, and I never had a chance to move it because I foolishly cast a cantrip instead on the last turn. So, presumably it's still there 30 feet away from me, right?
Yes, it would still be hovering there.
Okay, so I want to walk... How far into the brambles is it?
It would still be within sight, probably like about 10 feet into it. Like you could just barely see. You got the little silver Mushu dragon kind of clinging onto it and waving.
Okay, so I want to walk over. Well, first I want to double check something. Just a minute, I just need to look. It won't take long. Won't take long. Won't take long.
Loading.
Won't
Loading.
take long. Okay, good. Okay, loaded. So I want to walk over to as close to the, as close in as I can get to the arcane eye where the little dragon is, and listen for what it has to say.
Sure. To do that, one moment, as that I believe is the one book I didn't open up because I'm like, when am I gonna need to consult the Dungeon Master's Guide? And I got my answer. All when
Well,
I
this is what we both get for casting an arcane eye in combat. Maddie has to go to the books, and I have to get poked by razor vines.
Yes. 252. All right. Let's see. Uneven ground, swarm of insects. There we go. This is the one. All right, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Okay. 22.
Yeah,
I'll take
nice.
that.
Yeah. All right, so you are able, with you're a short stack, you're able to more deftly get through the vines and the spines, and you do not lose movement, and you do not take damage.
Okay, good.
So you are able to move your distance in towards it, and you are hearing whispers in Draconic.
Okay, I want to commit those to memory.
Okay.
Much as I can, and now for my action, because I haven't taken an action yet.
Yep.
It's time to cast, activate Kazimir.
All right. So Bright is hiding in the natural cover, and okay. Well, so Kazimir, I will have you. Similar to how we're saying that Jasper's going on Mordecai's turn, as you are Bright's summon, I will have you go on Bright's turn.
Sounds good.
And so, so the casting is an action, but can you do anything on the immediate?
You can give it commands that doesn't require an action.
Oh, okay, a simple
issue
command
commands.
like attack, but if you wanted to control it, you have to give up your own action. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will give Kazimir the simple command of, kill those guys, shoot those guys in the red caps. We'll call them red caps for short. Shoot them.
A very accurate description.
Shoot the red caps. Do
All
it.
right. So this is gonna be. This is very weird for Kazimir. Dark Wolf, I just want to take a moment to have you appreciate the fact both your characters are now witnesses to the story unfolding around them. Both Norlai and Kazimir are kind of on autopilot, watching all this happening that's beyond their control. This is a really weird trend. And don't forget, meanwhile, Norlai. All right, so Kazimir, you are on the ground. You can, you're gonna have to,
Get up from prone.
so yeah, you'll have to get up from prone, a simple general course of action. Yeah, so attack the creature. So you can get up from prone, item interaction to draw your
With
weapon.
this insanity, we're gonna bring back out the fickle god to play around.
Uh-oh, the fickle god has returned. Kazimir, now that you are conscious-esque, you're conscious-y. You also have a floating +1,
Okay.
and there's one other remaining. And so let's be fair and give one to Jasper also. So Jasper can invoke a +1 on a saving throw, an attack, or something else along those lines. All right, so Kazimir, there is a... you see Celine. Celine is on the ground, and you see that Mordecai is on the ground. And, well, you were on the ground until you stood up, but there's these vicious little things that are chittering. One of them has its back to you as it's making little gribbly fingers up at Investigator Jacob Stillwaters. What are you doing? Oh, there's also several of them that appear to be sprouting from the bloodstained soil around around these corpses.
Okay, so one is near Mordecai and Slain?
Yeah, one is on each of them. But they're not together. They're probably like 15 feet apart, or like they're kind of spread out. But you're between them.
Well, I can't think, so which one would be closer?
Bright, would you like to make a decision? Which one should Kazimir attack?
The one that's on Mordecai.
Okay.
Okay. I will go after one on Mordecai.
All right.
Other question, do I have my shield?
If Bright allows you to use your action to wear it, otherwise if you're just attacking, then...
Yeah, I said to use your bow, so you have to shoot them.
Okay. Why would you make me use bow? I do not have good vision.
All right, well...
I am melee.
Fortunately, that little voice in your head, Kazimir, guides you to shoot an arrow, and it pierces into this mushroom. Go ahead and 6 piercing. Got it.
Didn't know if you'd be close enough to reach them with your sword. You were lying over there. I didn't have a very good line of sight because I'm short.
You also have extra attack, don't you?
I do.
Okay. Are you using
I,
this?
yes. Because I am told to shoot, and I will shoot until target is not there.
Yes, you will obey your mistress. All right, and that is also a hit on the same number. If it wasn't, even I'd be kind of weirded out. And all right.
Just double check things. Actually,
Yes.
Colossus Slayer, I get another 1d8. No.
Okay. So what is your... Go ahead and roll it. An extra 4. Okay.
Yep. So 6, 5, 4.
All right. Jacob, this little gribbly is looking at you, and then you just... And it stops, and it looks down as two arrows are just now emerging from the front of it. You just see like chunks of mushroom, some mushroom gravy spilling out of the wounds. Mushroom gravy. Anyway, however, it is still up and gribbling, and it is now from Bright / Kazimir's turn. We're over to Mordecai.
I am gonna get up from prone, and this thing's in melee with me, isn't it?
Yes, that is correct. It is in melee, and it also is not looking too good. It's had its block knocked off twice by Jacob, and it has 2 arrows, turning it into a veggie kebab, as Custo said in chat.
I am then going to... You know what? I'm not actually going to do that. I am going to... Is there anyone else looking rough besides me?
Oh wait. I only need 5 feet of movement to get up.
It's right. Bright forgot you were an athlete. She's not used to having all these muscles.
Yeah.
I am going to cure wounds myself.
Sure. You can do that because you're a vampire.
I can do that. That's gonna be a level 3.
I will say, Mordecai, these mushrooms smell very tasty. And I'm not just saying that because you used to be a mostly vegetarian. All right. Anything else from you, Mordecai?
No, because I don't have anything to do with my bonus action right now.
All right, we're over to Celine.
Yes.
You're on the ground.
This thing, so technically I'm on the ground. I'm not like pinned, am I?
Wait.
Jasper.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Jasper.
Yeah, Jasper.
Jasper's gonna attack the thing that's on me.
Beak hits. Claws hit. Jeez.
Sakes.
All right. So Jasper, once more, the claw just comes down on this small thing. So like it looks down as it has these arrowheads protruding from it, and then a shadow grows over it. And this little mushroom creature with it's all dented and knocked around looks up as Jasper's griffin claw once more like digs in and tears this thing's cap, its mushroom cap off. And oh, Mordecai, the smell of blood is just it's a sweet perfume in the air. But this is man, these are potent little blood bags for being mushrooms, for sure. Okay. All right, that was Jasper. Now it's Celine. So, Celine, you have one of these things on you. The other one that had uprooted itself was just torn apart and turned into a fine red mist by Jasper.
Yep. So, am I considered, like, pinned?
You're not
by this
pinned.
thing?
It knocked, like, it dashed forward and kind of like head-butted you to the ground. Like, it may be small, but it had some mass and it knocked you on your butt.
Okay. Cool. So, first things first, I'm gonna get up.
Yep.
Spend half my movement speed to get up. Bonus action, because the spiritual weapon's right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
The spiritual weapon's gonna make an attack.
Okay.
With a 25.
Yep, and not a 9, not a red number.
No. And it can take 9 force damage. Wow.
Okay.
A 1 on a D8. And then as an action, I am going to... Yeah, no, I'll do that. I'll inflict some wounds.
Okay, 22 does hit. You reach over and touch this little bitter mushroom man.
And it can take 17 points of necrotic damage.
And it's going to take 17 points of necrotic damage. Okay. So part of its like outer mushroom casing like kind of melts away, and it looks at its fibrous innards. And you see that it certainly is filled with blood as it sort of like instantly ages and spoils due to your necrotic touch. If they weren't vegetables, these would almost be like animated livers. Like there's just so much blood in these things that are constituting them. All right. Anything else from you, Celine? Otherwise, it's my turn.
Yeah, no, it's your turn.
All right. So the one that's on you already, Celine, is it looks very upset that you gave it the bad touch, and it is going to swing at you.
Yep.
Does a 13 hit you?
Miss.
Does a 16 hit you?
Miss.
All right. So it goes as like a part of its like mushroom flesh turns into a weapon. It's almost mimicking the scythe that you're having scoop back at it. And one of them though will still catch you. And
yep.
You are going to take 10 points of slashing damage as this hardened mushroom flesh just digs through your robes and gouges your flesh, and it with some of your blood on its weapon, it looks and like licks it off, and it looks absolutely delighted. Okay, now we have there were 3 that were just getting ready to uproot themselves, and they're going to be doing that, and they are going to launch themselves into combat here. And now that there's 6 of you, because there's the 5 of you plus Jasper, Jasper's going to be a D6. All right, Bright, I need you to make a dex... Oh, no, hang on, Bright. You're hidden in... Well, you're not stealthing, but you're 10 feet in the brambles.
5 feet, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were just inside there. Let me...
I still have my mirror images up, too.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, one of them is going to launch at the target-rich environment just inside the brambles. And so, this is not an attack roll, I just need a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. 15.
Okay. All right, so it... you expertly... Boo! It aimed for the right one. Maybe it smelled your blood. And it just sort of like dived headlong further into the thorns. And as it does so... it tumbles, but it doesn't seem to get torn up. Jacob, one of these little bloody mushrooms that pried itself up is launching itself at you, and it's putting its considerable, like, compact... It's almost like a little cannon... Well, I don't know if a cannonball would... whatever. Details outside of combat. Anyway, to us, a cannonball, rockets towards you. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw. Nice. All right. Expertly, this thing obviously telegraphed what it was gonna do, and I mean, almost like a matador, just boo, you get out of the way with your sword and hammer. You just let this thing fly past. And then lastly, Kazimir. Kazimir, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw as the third one launches itself at you. All right. In your addled state, you just barely managed to dodge this thing as it the other ones went high, and it said aha, and it tries to tumble and go low, but you end up like you do a little jump, but Bright's getting some input lag on her controller, and so unfortunately, like you skip just over it, but it cleans the bottom of your boots off as you do hop over it, but it does not make full contact with you here. And you all can see that there seem to be 3 more mushrooms that are growing up out of the bloody soil around the corpses. However, those were my monsters, and so we're back up to the top. Jacob, you have one by you. There's one further into the bramble patch, but it's technically by Bright. And then there's one by Kazimir as well, and one by Celine. The one on Celine's been tagged, if that matters.
Yes, I will. So there's one by here, Bright, one by Celine, and one by me and Mordecai, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, it has to be the first with me and Mordecai. So I will end up swinging both then and then. Obviously being 18 hits.
Yes, 18 hits.
18 points in damage. So, not...
Alright, and that was the one that was by you and Mordecai, you said, right?
That is correct.
Okay, you... and you're knocking chunks of mushroom off this thing, and they're oozing this kind of, like, crimson sap or like a blood. Mordecai, oh no, you're being sprayed with blood from these bludgeoning hits on these mushrooms.
Well, I was kind of hoping to knock it unconscious, but go after the one that's going to Bright. So you know what? I will rush to the one that is close to Bright.
Oh, I mean, I'm safe in here. It's fine. Okay, whatever.
Okay. Then I'll go to the one to Celine.
Okay. Several Brights are like, I'm okay. Okay, so you're going to the one on Celine. Is you are not you're not doing the careful movement away, so it'll get an attack of opportunity on you.
It can try.
Well, I will attempt one. You were correct. I said I'd try, and I did. All right, so you successfully move over next to Celine with Celine's damaged red cap, as Bright called it. All right. Anything else, Jacob? Otherwise, we're going to Bright / Kazimir. Oh. You're muted if...
Bright and Kazimir?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for orders.
Yep. So,
Yeah, I was waiting for Derek to finish.
yeah, I didn't know if there's anything else. Well, if there is, Derek, maybe his headset went out or something.
No.
Oh.
No, there's nothing else.
Okay, sure. No problem.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my shocking grasp again.
And oh, yep, you turn around and this little gribbler is in the brush, and you manage to make contact with it.
Okay,
Six
that's not
light-
very much. That's wimpy. Kazimir, pull out your sword and come in here and kill this red cap.
Do not have sword. Cannot
What?
compute.
Oh, well, then do whatever you have that can kill this red cap.
Battle axe?
All
Or
right.
that.
So Kazimir, as you're doing this, the red cap on you will get an AO. However, you can move through this brush as we determined last week without any big deal. So let's see if this thing can even contact. I'm gonna 16 hit.
No.
Oh,
Wait.
oh,
Yes, I do not have my shield equipped.
that's fine. It's gonna tag you for.
Not as good at being Kazimir.
It's a learning curve as a wizard's piloting a ranger. All right, you take 9 points of slashing damage as this thing, as its arm forms into like an axe blade head, like kind of like what you have, and it slashes at you, and it rips the seat of your pants. Oh, what? Oh, how horrible! No one look. And you
know
bravely.
everyone wants to look.
You, I know. And you bravely dive expertly and undamaged into the tangle with your great axe out. I guess your axe is hanging out. And you try to savage this little mushroom man. Go ahead and roll your attacks. 14 will hit.
His first attack.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
27 will definitely hit. Okay.
And Colossus later.
Yeah.
Actually, was it damaged the first time?
It was.
Yeah, it was damaged.
Haha.
Still only once per turn, though, I think.
Is it once per turn?
Only once per turn.
Okay, ignore the one.
Okay.
It was the 21.
So you leap in there and you bring the axe down and you slice off a portion of this thing's crimson cap, and it looks rather upset. Probably more so at you than Bright giving it a little like a static shock or telling it to lick a 9-volt battery, because that was a harmless prank. You were just trying to cut this thing in half. Custos, that's kind of what happened. It got a slash in on Kazimir as he was bounding away, and there may have been a wardrobe malfunction.
Add 4 to that.
Oh, and add 4 to that?
Dueling.
Gotcha. There we go. Bright is slowly reading through the Kazimir manual, operation manual, and is... okay. Bright still leans, though, when he wants to make you turn, and... All right, so Kazimier's unloading damage.
I'm normally a PC player, so using the gamepad is kind of hard for me.
That's true. You are operating a PC right now, even. All right, Mordecai / Jasper. What are you doing here? There's one that's by you that was on Jacob but didn't follow him as he bounded over to Celine. So there's one that would be in melee contact with both of you.
Okay. Is when I look at the rest of my party, do they look hurt?
Casimir looks like zombie.
Yeah, Kazimir kind of looks
I'm
weird,
under half.
and it is also probably shrouded by thorns. So,
And Jacob?
Jacob, I think, is barely breaking a sweat.
Don't worry about me.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna do a mass cure wounds because I need to heal.
Sure.
For up to 6 creatures who want it.
I will take.
that's
I'll take
myself.
some 18 hit points. That'll heal all the damage I took earlier.
At full strength, so I can't use it.
Do I have permission to take healing?
Of course. You don't technically need my permission, just his.
Yep.
Okay. And the myriad of tastes. This is such a buffet for your senses right now, Mordecai. As that residual taste of blood from the curing magic comes back to your senses. Anything else for you, Mordecai, or are we going over to Jasper?
Jasper will peck and swipe.
All right, beak hits. Okay. The claw hits.
For 21 total.
All right. This one, it tries to get out of the way. It tries to, it does a tumble, but the claw still catches it, and the beak comes down and ends up gouging, and gouges a trough out of this thing's mushroom flesh. But it still wiggles and it's on the ground. It's still up, but it is very damaged. And oh, that blood is just oozing everywhere. And these things are like sponges for this stuff. All right. That is Mordecai and Jasper. We now come down to Celine.
Yes, there's this thing in front of me that just hit me and licked my blood off its appendage.
Yeah.
First, it's taking a spiritual weapon hit to the back.
Okay. Yep, a 26 absolutely will do that.
And it will be taking 13 points of force damage.
Alrighty.
It's still up.
Yes, it is.
Cool. So, because it did that to me, excuse, but I would like that back. And I'm going to cast Vampiric Touch.
Okay. All right, you're vampiric. You reach out and you... Yep. You vampirically touch this thing.
And that will be 21 points of necrotic damage, and I will heal for 10.
All right. This thing, it's so the juices are flowing here. If you need any more hit points, I'll even give you a bonus, an extra 5 hit points back, because this thing is just so full of blood.
No, I'm at full, but what I might do
These are like containers for life force.
Because I hit, I am gonna spend my other channel divinity, and I'll chuck another 25 onto that.
Okay, and that is necrotic also?
Necrotic damage, yes.
Okay.
So so basically she grabs in with the vampiric touch, and as the Jutsu hero, it's like, you know, this is actually a little bit too much. You can have some of this back, and then, boof, from the touch of death, the channel divinity touch of death.
it shrivels and it like simultaneously like liquefies and hardens at the same time, so it turns into just this like raisin looking, like kind of a glistening raisin of its former self. Like it's shrunk down even smaller. As you just wither this thing down with your necrotic energy.
Yep. And as she tears her hand away, whatever little bit of juice is left gets splattered across the porcelain mask that she's been wearing the entire time. So now the white porcelain has been splattered with probably some kind of red fluid, I imagine.
Yes, it is definitely fluid. It is definitely red. It is most likely blood, but that's yet to be determined.
Blood analog.
All right. Anything else, Celine? Otherwise, I get my little duders to do something.
Nope, that's all currently.
All right. So I have a couple little gribblers here. Celine, there's the one on you just shriveled into a raisin and is absolutely gonzo. I have one that used to be on Jacob. However, it is in it was close to Mordecai and Jasper here, and Jasper went to savage this thing, so I am going to try and savage Jasper back, as it just turns and it frenzies into this poor griffin here, and does a 16 hit?
Yes.
All right, all three of them are going to hit. Do you need damage individually for shenanigans, or do you want me to give it to you in a lump sum?
No, total's fine.
Okay. All right, 25 slashing damage as the hardened mushroom flesh is carving little chunks out of your mount. Is Jasper still up?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Then we had one. Well, it was on Kazimir. Now it's no longer, and so it's going to end up joining the fray, and it will also try to help its little red cap friend, and I will also attack Jasper with it.
All right.
Those are all going to hit. Ooh. 30 more damage. Ooh. As this thing... Ah!
Jasper is still conscious.
Ooh. And this thing, like, it gives a victory cry, and you see it almost like it's standing underneath Jasper, this huge griffin, as, as it's taking damage. It has its mouth open. There's no blood. It's a summoned animal. So, it's...
Summoned Celestial, to be fair.
Hybrid.
It looks very confused as to why blood's not pouring on it.
It's a hybrid Fey vampire thing.
Now we have. So that one is on Jasper. That one's on Jasper. Then we had one that was on Bright. And Bright, this one will try. I need to do my attacks separately for purposes of your images, right?
Correct, because the images. Oh look, I just got a new emote.
Say it one more time. I had a voice speaking to me.
I just got a new emote. So yes, the mirror images don't affect saves, but they do affect attack rolls.
Yes.
So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get 3 attacks here.
Okay.
And the first one. All right. It gets its like mushroom arm caught, like it goes to slash, and it's gonna try again. Hopefully not get a 1. Well, I hope it's not gonna get a 1. And then it tries what?
It's 3.
Like it's trying even harder, and it's pushing with its other hand, and it's getting closer, but it's not quite there yet. A 1, a 3, and hey, there we go. So that'll be a 21.
Okay, so that'll roll for the mirror image, assuming it's a normal attack.
Yes.
And looks like that one's gonna hit me.
Okay.
Looks looks like that one's gonna hit me. Because right now I need at least an 8.
8.
And I deal 8 points of slashing damage to you.
Okay, that's okay. Give me just a minute. And let me roll my con save.
Yeah. Oof.
I think I'll do. I think that'll do.
Yep, that 24. Boy, Bright just clenches up, says no. My spell.
Good. I got to make a con save to keep Kazimir functioning.
Yeah, that's. Oh. Custos, real quick, because you are wanting the fickle god to play hard in this session here. Did you have anything in particular in mind, or are you just leaving this open to me as a fair and just DM? Are you leaving it open to me for what to do with the bits? Let me know in chat while we go to Jacob at the top of the all right, 3 more. I'm sorry, because I was describing 3 more were just sprouting. 3 more are going to be charging in, presumably next turn, as a heads up to you all. But the corpses have sprouted 3 more, and they're going to be like, they're on the board, but they didn't get to do anything because they sprouted. Then they just got to the point of pulling themselves up. So they will be charging if prior evidence speaks to their behavior. All right, Custos is going to let me have fun with this. Very well, I shall have fun with it. Jacob, what are you doing here?
I am putting down a creature that is currently going after Celine.
Celine, put that one down.
Ah.
It is a raisin right now. However, there are 2 that are harassing Mordecai and Jasper. One of those has been hit pretty well already, and Bright is also kind of in the weeds there, fighting. And then there's also the 3 that are just pulling up out of the ground. You'd have advantage on any attacks against them if you wanted, because they're technically prone. What would you like to do?
I'll take care of the 3.
Okay, you're going after the spawning ones?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. You go over to the corpses. The blood is soaked into the soil. These things are they look up at you with gnashing hungry mouth. That will a 22 will hit and a 24 will hit for sure. Okay. So as they're still forming and kind of like coming out of the soil, you are playing whack-a-mole with these things, Jacob, and you crush one back down into the ground, and you look at the other one and you crush it down into the ground, and you've made a mushroom paste out of both of them. There's still one more little wiggler by you, though. Action surge, all right. 23 will absolutely hit, and you bring it down at this mushroom that was just getting ready to pop, and it just almost like, well, spilled brain matter. Just this kind of gelatinous, bloody mess just spreads out on the soil. That is what.
And that's
move 2
everything.
actions. Okay. All right, Jacob was just playing whack-a-mole. It does look like, Jacob, that perhaps more of these things might be spawning now that you're over there and you're standing in this bloody, muddy soil here. So this is, if you wish to make this battlefield information known, you're welcome to share that.
I will.
All right. Now we come over to Bright and Kazimir.
Ooh. Make sure that I'm not muted. Oh, look, I'm not. Okay. Mordecai, are you very hungry right now? Because I think you should maybe drink that blood that seems to be causing these things to spawn. Okay, now that we've got that taken care of, Kazimir, why don't you take your, no, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go ahead and cast a firebolt at the one that's attacking Big Puppy. And by Big Puppy, I mean Jasper.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Unfortunately, a 10 will not hit the one that has been attacking Jasper. The firebolt whizzes by, and Jasper kind of raises a wing just in time as it sails across the battlefield.
Okay, so let's deep. I guess I'd have to make another dex save if I went farther into the bushes, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So I am going to go ahead and. So how far in can I see into the bushes?
We'll say at any point in time you have. You're at the periphery. I'll say you can see 10 feet, but it's definitely going to get thicker the closer to the center you get. So it might go to 5 and then almost nothing.
Okay, so I am going to go just a little bit further in.
Okay.
Be able to make sure that I can still see out.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you can scoot a little bit more in. Are you still staying in melee range with the one that's on you?
Attack me.
Say it again. I only caught half of that.
I said no. It's okay if they attack me.
Okay, gotcha. It will take the opportunity. It's after Bright's blood. And by that... Vines! Ah! I rolled a 1, everyone. This thing is just, it's all sorts like bound up and it's trying really hard.
Okay, good news. Okay, everything went according to plan except for that my firebolt was bad. Okay, Kazimir, I'm gonna need you to take your axe and go save Jasper.
Okay.
All right, so Kazimir, this thing can't get a slice on you because it's tried. It seems to be bound up in the vines. You are free to jump forth from the razorvine tangle and bound over and administer some not really justice, just fulfill your commands as given to you by your mistress Bright.
Fulfilling.
I feel like I should be wearing leather. But I would never do that. Look,
not unless it's
shoes,
Sunday and I have $15.
No, even my shoes are actually made of tree bark. It's very nice.
Oh my.
Anyways. Is one by Jasper being hit before?
Yes, there is. There's one that has been hit before, and you hit it back, if that's the one you want to target.
I will aim for that one.
1 second. All right. All right. Your axe comes down, and as this thing goes from Jasper, and it turns around, hearing you bound behind it, and as it does, you actually perform like a spiral cut on it. As this thing whips around, but you already had your blade there, and you just see this like spiral of mushroom flesh come off as it and then falls.
Is there another one?
There is another one that has not been damaged yet.
I will go hit that one.
Okay. You hit. All right, there's now damage on it.
Then the +2. That was second attack. That's all I got.
Okay. All right.
But add the +2.
All right. Then, with Bright and Jasper both having gone, it is now down to Mordecai. Or I'm sorry, Bright and Kazimir. It is now over to Mordecai and Jasper.
Okay.
There's
Is there one still in front of me?
There is one that is by you and Jasper. Yes, it was just kissed by Kazimir's battle axe.
Mordecai, drink the blood.
Yeah. I'm gonna have Jasper attack that one first.
Hits. Okay.
And
Claws hit. Ooh. Man, y'all are picking on my mushrooms here. Okay.
okay. That one's not dead yet.
No. It is torn up, but it is not dead.
I want to bite it.
Make a Make a melee attack. You can do this with finesse. I'm fine with that. You're nimble. You can crane your
Proficiency?
neck. Yeah, you're a vampire.
Okay. I was not prepared for this, so I'm gonna make a dexterity check and add +4.
Sure.
Vampire
Or-
for 45 sessions. This is the first time he uses a bite.
I don't know the damage dice.
All right. So you go to bite this thing, and go ahead and I want you to make one of your special Constitution saving throws
Okay.
that we talked about with.
I don't remember what that was, but
That was a con save when normally you'd be frenzying to feed. That this
Yeah.
allows you to maintain control, and you got a con save at advantage.
oh, that's right. All right, Constitution saving throw, crit.
Wow. All right. So a 21 here on a crit even. Mordecai, you sink your fangs. Into this thing's soft mushroomy flesh, and you just this thing is writhing and is also turning into a raisin as blood, and especially like this is a very weird blood, is flowing through you. And
Wow.
number one, you absolutely kill this thing and you drain it dry. And Mordecai, like your flesh takes on kind of a woody mushroom texture, and you just your toes and your fingertips are starting to sprout little roots as you are taking on an aspect here of this thing that you just absolutely consumed with your vicious bite, and you have there's just this connection you feel with plants and the earth as these little roots are almost acting like sensory organs in a way, and they twitch and they're seeking nutrients. Well, that was an action. You still have a move.
Cool. Do I heal for that?
Yeah, we'll give you a, you heal 13 back from that.
Okay.
Watching all this, and I'm thinking, I guess I should have been more specific about which blood to drink.
But Mordecai, you still have your move. What would you like to do, if anything? You and Jasper are free of harassment.
I'm gonna have me and Jasper move towards another thing that's bloody.
There is...
If Bright was being
There's
specific.
one by Bright that is tangled up if you wanted to go after that. Otherwise, Jacob is standing over like a pool of bloody mud and is playing whack-a-mole with these things that seem to want to keep spawning in it.
I think I'm gonna go to that if that's having an issue. So.
Sure. Okay, so you move over to it, and oh, your root fingertips are just like twitching, and they're almost like little tendrils at the ends of your fingers, and they're just like they're pointing down towards the soil. Anything else?
Get as close to it as I can and see what these things do.
Sure. You can. I mean, you're not dropping prone on your back, but you can effectively like kneel down and plunge your hands into the mud if you want.
That's what I'll do.
Sure. And you stick your this is the you know, it's like if you were back to being an alive tiefling. It's like summer grass between your toes, like being on the beach and you're feeling all the... This is just absolutely fulfilling on a fundamental, on a primal level. This is satisfying, like, oh, like a dragon wallowing in gold. Like, oh, I'm a dragon, look at me, I'm rolling in treasure. You just, like, nutrients of the soil and the blood are just... Woo! All right. Then, unless there's anything else from you, Mordecai, I don't know if you have a bonus action for something, we're going to go to Celine.
Go for it.
Celine.
Okay. So how many are left near me?
There are none left by you. There's some that are presumably still cropping up in the mud over by the corpses where Mordecai is having some fun. And there's also, you're hearing some screams coming from the brush, from the razorvine area of one of these mushroom creatures.
Alright, well I'll see if I can't get the jump on a couple of these. By, moving over with the spiritual weapon.
Okay.
Bonus action, I'll take a spiritual weapon, swipe it. One that's attempting to crop up.
Sure. You start. Sure. So there's some that aren't fully formed, but you're seeing these little red mushrooms that are like starting to grow, and you are. I mean, you're actually using a scythe for the purpose of reaping a crop as you're cutting these little mushrooms as they're growing out of the bloody mud. Anything else from you, Celine?
That was just bonus action. Action, if there's a couple of fully formed ones, then one of them's going to be taking a vampiric touch.
Okay. Sure. So you come over and so you make absolutely, these aren't really conscious or animated mushrooms yet, but it's with a 14. I mean, you're able to. Also, your fingers, while not like Mordecai's, you're still getting a vampiric essence. Like, you can still draw blood and life force from the ground here. And so if you needed to recover hit points, you could, even though you're just attacking some small mushrooms in some mud.
That's just 10 damage.
Okay. Sure. Like, absolutely, you are making the mud barren of mushrooms. Okay. Then it is going to come down to my turn, and I only have one of these animated duders left, and it's going to try and move through the brush and burst out, and it's going to take some damage as it's going to be cut up by the razor vines. All right, it's shredded. It's leaving bits of mushroom behind, and it jumps out and is going to pursue. Let's see. You all moved over to the mud. Kazimir is the closest, and it's going to pounce over towards Kazimir. All three are going to hit. Kazimir, do you have any?
Actually.
Oh.
If it's multi-attacking.
Yes.
I get a +4 to my AC.
Oh, all right. So the first one, it's still going to be a 23 and then a 24 on the second and third attacks. Is that going to matter?
Let me see.
It'll be a 22, 23, and 24, respectively.
Yeah, those.
Okay. So would you like to... You want to damage in a pile?
Yes, sure.
All right. All right. You take 22 points of slashing damage as, man, you are just an unfortunate anime character here. Is just armor and clothing are just apparently dissolving under a flurry of attacks from a monster. and more of you is laid bare, Kazimir. And
Rumble on my controller is just like.
yeah, Bright's got the rumble pack going. All right. So this thing jumps out, Jacob. Mordecai looks really weird, and both he and Celine are apparently like draining the mud of blood as it's slowly turning back into dirt, and you're seeing this wee babby mushroom crop being just eliminated under their efforts. However, a monster did just jump out and try and savage. Well, it did savage Kazimir. If you'd like to go and cover Kazimir's behind, there's that target, or you can whatever else you want to do.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. So you rush over and go ahead and put this savage little beastie down. All right, both of those are absolutely going to hit. And once more, with both blows here, Jacob, you can't play whack-a-mole unless the mushroom's in the ground. So your first hit knocks it, like squishes it down into the ground, and it looks up at you as the shadow of your hammer falls over it, and then suddenly and silence. With that, especially because Mordecai, you're there and you are just draining the blood out of the soil, and the nutrients in the dirt. Oh, who thought dirt tasted so good? And you're slaking your thirst, and we'll discuss what'll happen here. Celine, of course, you're welcome to continue grooming little mushrooms. However, honestly, without the blood, they're no longer spawning, and so the combat is, for intents and purposes, finished. What we'll do is we'll get up and take a break so we can all use the bathroom, get a snack and a drink, and when we come back, we can talk, investigate, do whatever you want to do after that. So for everyone out there, you take a break too. I don't know if O'Sheeps is still around, but if she's not, stretch, as she's going to yell at you to do. And we'll be back in 10-15 minutes or so.